So, please introduce yourself and just say one thing that you think that you do that is alternative way that you live, or maybe list of things. It doesn't seem that we are a big group. We can um, go through a list if we have a list of things that we do alternatively. Okay. So, can we start with you?
Things that we do alternatively, like in our everyday lives.
Yes.
My name is Marlisa, and I'm a holistic health practitioner. I'm an herbalist, and I do something called quantum biofeedback, and I do something called voice remapping, which are all very, very unmainstream and very alternative.
And why you're interested in alternative economy?
Because just like medicine, I knew there had to be a better way, and there had to be a way to take responsibility for ourselves, our lives, our health, our well-being, and leaving it all to a doctor was just like, really, there's not a cure for cancer? I mean, like, come on, how long have you guys been working on this, and how much money have you gone through?
Okay. And what is your hope for this workshop?
I just want to learn what you're up to.
Okay.
When we talked earlier, it just sounded really intriguing. I was going to go to another workshop, and you started talking. It was like, it just drew me in. I was thinking, all these people need homes, and how that could be, that kind of a model could be adapted to other areas, and really help folks out and create something really meaningful.
What are you looking for, Laura?
Whole pensions. And because I am in, I work with SAFE, and we're about what did he say?
Fundraising.
Oh, fundraising. And because I work with SAFE, and we deal with people's homes and having a home over your head, a roof over your head versus homelessness. Alternatives seem like a good idea.
Yes.
To give people other options.
Actually, as we are doing, I just wanted to say something. We have something called Colorado Coalition of the Foreclosure Resistance in Colorado. We work collaboratively with them, trying to find a solution to their problems. Coalition Foreclosure Resistance. And I can put you in connection with some of those people if you give your cards or email.
I got one right in my pocket.
And you do that.
But it's not a SAFE card. I'll just write SAFE. I'll just write SAFE on it. Member of SAFE. Because this is just my.
Like this. There's like 5 or 6 of them.
Okay, go ahead. Your turn.
Okay, so I say something I'm doing alternatively.
Your name first.
My name first. I'm Brian. One of the things I've been doing here on Vashon has been helping to organize a really free market where we all get together in the park uptown at the 4-way stop, and people just bring stuff that they want to give to the community, and then just like look at other stuff and see if there's something you need or want, and just kind of just to share in an exchange that isn't financially based or even bartering based, just to kind of see how much abundance we actually have that we can give forward to where it needs to be. What was the next question?
And basically, what is your interest in alternative economy, and what is your hope for this workshop?
Well, I'm always interested in alternatives to the dominant economy because it's obviously collapsing around us. And I think there's just so much more that we can do cooperatively than we can competitively. And I just hope to hear some good stories and examples and dialogue with you all about how that's working out in your communities and in your projects.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Dan. In my own life, probably most of the kind of alternative things that I try to do revolve around transportation, getting back and forth without jumping into the car and going. And I work on a lot of labor issues, and this is where I think it particularly is significant, and that is that I think most of the issues that I deal with in that context, which is trying to secure a contract with our administration that deals with issues of health care or long-term care for elderlies, that almost all of those issues could be resolved if we had an alternative economy that took all of those things and just placed it right at the heart of it to begin with, as opposed to something that we always have to negotiate with, fight over, scrap over. So, I think I look forward to the day when we don't need unions anymore because we're all one big union and it's just called a community.
Yes.
So that's it.
Well said.
My name's Emiliano, and I am working on finding an alternative to student loans to financing college. And it's been kind of something I've been working on ever since I've been straddled with debt myself, and having 2 children, realizing the importance of not only their education now, but in the future. Will it be something that I can afford paying back my own loans? And probably looking at about $250,000 for 4 years for both of us. Very concerning, and even for this country, to make sure that we don't have people that are avoiding further educating themselves because they're afraid of debt. So
I just want to add something. I'm 59 years old and I'm still paying for my student loan.
yeah.
So you're never going to get rid of
Oh
it.
yeah.
So continue. What is
One thing I'm really doing to live alternatively is to grow my own food. I've kind of really jumped into the permaculture here in the Washington area, and one thing I want to introduce in the schools, especially around where I live, is school gardens. So that way the kids can learn how to grow their own food, they know where it comes from, and then obviously with the issue of genetically modified foods, it's either going to get better or it's going to get worse in the next 15 years. So I would like these kids to be prepared in case it does get worse, so that way they can feed themselves. And as far as what I look to get in the workshop, I'm just curious to hear what other people have in mind for alternatives for what we're the status quo that we're seeing now that's obviously failing, and it's a big reason why we're all coming together and trying to come up with new ideas and put them forward.
That's great. Great.
Name's Roya's son. Also, like you, I've been doing a little bit of gardening, permaculture, trying to figure out better ways to grow natural produce and stuff. Just trying to get away from the GMOs and unnecessary antibiotic-fed foods that we're eating currently. For myself, other than that, I'm not really doing anything too alternatively. I work a half hour away, so our transportation in Colorado tends to be a little more difficult, just because of how our city is set up with the buses. I mean, just like yourself, I got one child, a 6-year-old son, and I'm just hoping that by the time he gets older, we can find many alternative ways of changing a lot of things that we currently do. That's just been a process for so long in this country that some people have a hard tendency to get away from. Transportation, growing food, currency, student loans. I mean, a little bit about myself. I actually joined the Navy Reserve to be able to acquire the GI Bill for myself. FedEx is kind of paying partially for my school, but at the same time, knowing how expensive school is probably going to be for my son, I wanted to be able to pass that along. But I didn't join the military to get deployed. I didn't join the military to go hold a gun or anything of that sort. I actually joined in the construction battalion to help with disaster relief. So, but I guess with that being said, I haven't had an opportunity to even do what I enlisted for. And without this, I'm kind of long haul for even getting my benefits to get the GI Bill. So hopefully something shortly will come up that everybody can agree upon as far as, student loans and education and the higher ups to, fulfill the education of our youth that's going to be leading this country one day.
Okay. My name is Roya Brown,
Spell it?
and me, Roya Brown, Roya Brown.
Okay.
And I was born and raised in Iran, and between me and my dad, you probably have 100 years of activism. My father was involved with nationalizing the oil, before the CIA came and got rid of that government and brought another government and stuff like that. And I've been on and off very active, in America and in United States, and but not really till my friend died of cancer, not accessing health care. And I said, boy, we live in the richest country in the world, and people don't have access to the health care. What's wrong with this picture? So I got in, I became an activist for single payer, because I lived in England and I lived in Canada, and I know I firsthand experience. I know those are the best way. Your employment is not attached to your job. You can freely go wherever you want. And if you, look at the land of opportunity here, I feel like if you don't have access to healthcare and if you don't have access to the higher education, what land of opportunity is this, except being a dishwasher and work hard, and then you'd be lucky in being in the right place and right time to become somebody, And then I saw my friend who had a wonderful restaurant. He loved his restaurant, and because his son got a very dramatic disease that needed hospitalization often, so he quit his restaurant and became a school janitor to have benefits, and what I question all these things. What kind of American dream is this? So when I came to this country, I went to Oxford Polytechnic in England. I had a math degree, and then here I earned my electrical engineering. And because of I chose a wrong degree, I end up working for all these companies that they are trying to shove it down your throat. This is the way it is. And every time I spoke, and I'm a very outspoken person, I was in the next line of laying off. So, when the project was over, I was laid off, As one of my friends said, it looks like being a high-paying migrant workers. By the time I end up, we were getting like about $35 to $40 an hour to work as an engineer, but by the time, how many times I was laid off, it was like minimum wage, So, anyway, I very early on, I changed 13 corporations. I was not going to give up. I was hoping that I find that utopia of the place that I can work and I enjoy. And finally I didn't. I changed from being the engineer to a teacher, and when I came to the public schools, and I said, boy, they're brainwashing from here, what they are doing in the corporations is where they start with elementary school over here, hush little baby, don't say a word, like they start from there, And I said, oh no, I cannot work under this condition. So I had to find ways to survive. This is my first thing. I had all these wonderful degrees, and I couldn't be employable because I would not bow down to the system. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be creative, and they wouldn't allow me, so I had to leave. Therefore, I found a way to sustain. So instead of get a job in order to have money, like this is what people always say, I need a job, I need money, so I need to get a job. And I went over that. I'm done with that. I don't need a job. I started putting all my education and skills together. Then I started marketing my skills. So I have 4 contracts with public schools, 2 with the public schools, 1 with the language schools to have people living in my house, because I have a big house when I was an engineer. So that pays for my mortgage. And then I have so much flexibility to do my activism. So, and I don't have to take orders from anybody. I have my own times to do things. So as I was taking all these in my head and say, it would be nice if we can, through my activism, if we could nationally or internationally boycott And as I was thinking about that, but I said that's not going to happen because people need alternatives. They're not going to lose their job, you know. They're not as disgusted as I am or as brave as I am to quit their job. They're going to hold on to that rotten apple till the end because that's their livelihood, you know. They're not going to do this, they're not going to do that till they have alternatives. So a bunch of us got together and we decided to do this. We went over it. It was actually most of us came from Occupy Denver, and many people are actually in an alternative economy, so in that aspect. So we decided to create a space for us, and we call it Connect Colorado. It's like a bazaar or what you call it, a fair. Once a month we get together and we have tables like this. Everybody puts their brochures, their information about what they are doing, you know, and they're mingling with each other and meeting each other, how to create this community in a wholeness, you know, because every one of them do something, but it's not a whole till we add up. So soon we found this space which was free to us to use, and we don't charge anybody to come and get a table and stuff. It's just a space for people to come and mingle. We have potlucks and music, and sometimes the speaker talking about something, you know, like they have, you know, they share what they do, a mini presentations, not more than 20 minutes, but the rest of it is 3 hours. People mingle with each other, they eat and they talk and they learn about each other's products. Any questions? I don't want to talk about
What kind of products?
Okay, that's a very good question. Before,
You said you had
Yes.
like-minded people
That's-
together, and okay.
okay, that's very good. So first I want to go over our mission statement that we came up with. So, you know, we realized that there are lots of people, and you see them over here, activists, that they are banging at the system. If you look at the system to be a circle, I look at these people, majority of these people who are, you know, against coal train, Excel, you know, pipeline, you know, I don't know, name it, move to amend, you know, healthcare for all, single payer, and all of that. They are working from this inside the circle and banging at this circle, trying to break it. But then what? We need somewhere to go. So we decided to create this outside, banging from outside. So the mission is the current political, economic, cultural, and I can send this to you.
Okay.
The current political, economic, cultural, and social structures in place do not provide for the needs of humans and the planet in the way that are adequate, sustainable, just, and equitable. While it is our responsibility to confront these injustices, which we are doing right now, right? We must also build alternatives that mirror our values, that our aspiration for a future and just society. Our mission is to educate. Our mission is to educate, organize, mobilize people to create systems based on social goods that are viable, sustainable, and beneficial to our communities, and to bring many organizations, collectives, community growers, and individuals working toward these sustainable local economies together. So this is our mission statement that we came up with. Then we say so many of us, while respecting people who are banging on the system, and we realize we have to look at the whole spectrums. We decided to do this, and the type of people that showed up and they wanted to do this alternative economy were the people who wanted to do alternative energy. For example, I realize here a lot of people here are against coal train and stuff like that. We don't have that in Colorado, but we have our utility companies is coal-fired plants. So how do we look at that? But we have 300 days of sun in Colorado. That means we can use solar and also we are very windy. We can create wind. So we are in the okay, alternative energy, alternative currency, and some of you have seen the currency we have created in Colorado. Collaborative housing, alternative transportation, alternative education, alternative healthcare, urban farming, alternative employment. So we call this, so with ethical alternative, a better world is possible. So we created a page, it's called Connect Colorado, and please visit us on there. And I'm going to go over there and show you. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we created a page, and so right now the stuff that we are working on is alternative currency, alternative energy, and collaborative housing, and also alternative employment. Those are the four things that we are working on. Yes.
I was just wondering how many of us in the group actually saw the alternative currency that Roya.
I have not.
So, really,
No, it's okay. So the first thing, okay, as we became, this group grew from 25 to 500 within days. And not only we had really attraction from progressive community, we had libertarian joined us. And this is what the libertarians are all about. They're creating the alternative currency. And although we differ in some of the stuff, but they love us so much because of the stuff that we do alternatively, because they are against big governments and stuff like that, that they are really trusting us to,
Can I ask a question about these?
Yes.
On these currencies, they have like Mile High Market, Colfax Bluebird, Convention Center, and Red. I'll pass them around. But what are
These are
they?
all.
Do they sponsor you guys? So that
No, they don't sponsor us. They are actually various people who are creating currencies, and they working with each other and accepting each other's currencies within different community.
Different business.
These businesses are accepting your community, your currency?
Yeah, currencies and different businesses, like not different businesses. We have different organizations creating currencies, but they put the other currencies in there to show that they are accepting those too, when they go to the business.
How do they get compensated monetarily?
About-
How do businesses? I can see how like you and I might swap
It's
services.
very much like coupons and swap things. You go to the, right now you cut the coupons. You go to the, to the restaurants. They use this, like half off, and then you pay $10 still for your food. If the food is $20, right? It's not completely
So
independent.
they're just being supportive of you by giving you half price. So all those businesses will give you half price.
Yeah, half price off and stuff till we finally make it 100% within our community. So this is just.
So you're using two currencies. They're using
Yeah, we are using two currencies, and we are hoping. Actually, this started in a mountain. In a mountain within their communities, they strictly use this, and then outside of their community, they use dollars. So.
Well, then that currency can kind of, like, when they're getting that back, it's more than a coupon to them. That's something they can spend at other businesses that take
Yes,
that currency.
and if this money, this currencies, unlike dollar, is not based on debt. Is based on mile high, hour. The hour of work. You work 1 hour, and you get paid for that. And I'm still learning about this. So on this, if you want, I give you. I don't have a card, but the name of it is called Mile High. Can you read this? I can. Okay, milehighhours.com. Milehighhours.com.
Wow.
And then each hour that someone like works can generate.
Yes.
And that's how the currency is created,
Yes.
correct?
So basically, the currency is based on your work, not based on debt or somebody
or
imagined
scarcity.
something, you know.
So take this workshop for example. So we paid we paid different amounts. However, we could
Yes.
pay for this. We paid cash, or money. But conceivably, could we, if we were in your system,
Yes.
could we be earning for the time spent cutting out letters and doing the community service stuff?
Yes, you can do that, and then also they had to negotiate with Bill,
Right.
to like that business accept this currencies. So they go to businesses. It's not every business accepted. And if you go to their Mile High dollar or whatever Mile High hours, they're gonna show you all the list of businesses that they are signing, and that's changing all the time. It started with 3, now they are like about over 50 businesses accepting this.
Okay, so it sounds like there's enough information on the website
Yes.
to kind
Yes.
of get up to speed on how
Yes.
it works and all
Yes.
that. Okay,
Yes.
I'll do that.
Because my job is to connecting this to the, I'm still learning how it is. But the thing is, what I know is, if we want to be independent and have an alternative economy, we better be in charge of our own money. So generate our own money. But otherwise, if we don't generate our money, and this is very much like a bartering system, So.
Have you worked with Barter Connection or some of the national?
No, we
exchanges?
have also bartering system in Denver. Some other Green Party, some individuals over there are involved. So this is one of the things that, and as I told you, this is our libertarian friends that they decided to join us, and it was very shocking to us that they really, like us, and that's how we could build coalition with libertarian. And this is very unheard of because usually libertarians and we are, when I say liberal, we are, I'm lying. This is far, far, far left liberals. Like the people who are in where we are doing, they are very anarchist, very free thinkers and living and stuff. And even with that, they became very much interested to work with us, because we put this together.
Is that 1 10-hour
Yes,
coupon, or is that 1/10 of an hour?
1/10 an hour.
So like 10,
Yes.
what would that be, like 6 minutes?
Yes.
Now, where do you work for the conversion?
For this,
Yeah, for the hour or the 10th.
it's a variety of businesses and stuff. It's basically circulation of money in a system. It's not that you are
So it's not a time exchange.
no time
It's just a
exchange,
measure.
but it could be a time exchange.
So it's a measure. So
Measure,
back
but-
on that instead of silver.
Yeah,
Time.
and it's not based on debt, because the monies that they're creating, the dollars is created based on debt, and you never have enough money to pay.
So everybody's equal in time.
Yes, everybody
Everybody's
is equal in time.
Makes
Yes,
sense.
I don't quite get it.
it's very complex, and I'm not expert in it. I'm just a connector. I do Connect Colorado, and I show you our page. I connect. But we just started this like about 4 months ago.
Yeah. You're
So
still-
we are still learning about each other's businesses, and this one happens to be very complex. So you can read that in their website, and get more information. Now, next
That's-
one.
milehighhours.com.
Yes. Okay. So the next one that we are very active, is my group, is alternative energy. Okay. I used to be electrical engineer in the power, and one of the things I did when I was working for Excel Energy, this is our power company. When I became consultant, after I left, actually I wasn't working for Excel Energy, I was working for Public Service Company of Colorado. When I left working for consultant, one of the jobs I did, we would go after municipalities who wanted to take over their utility companies and help them to agitate them to get that away from the power company and make it public. So now in Colorado, something beautiful happened in one of our city. they gave Excel Energy, which is like as I told you, like I don't know what is that Washington Power and Light? What do you have?
Of Seattle City Light.
Seattle City and Light. It's just like that, investor-owned utility, which is public, and they use all of the power plants is coal-fired. So Boulder is a city very much like Vashon Island, very liberal, and they want to live clean and stuff like that. So they gave them time frame to quit using coal-fired plants and give them energy which is based on solar and also wind. And we can do that. We can generate that in Colorado because we are windy and we are very sunny state. So after the time limits went off, the Boulder City came and, the city council came and sat down with Excel Energy and asked them, so what did you do? And the Excel Energy said, oh, we didn't do anything. So Boulder said, okay, we kick you out of the city. You can't stay in this city. So just pack up your stuff and leave. So city council passed it, and the people in Boulder really cheered upon it. And now in November comes and they have to go to vote, and now Excel Energy is going door to door trying to convince, giving them televisions, new refrigerators and things, trying to change the vote of the people. So in my group, we said, what can we do, right? I have a friend of mine who has a software program, which is an energy program, and that software can reduce your energy. You just enter the square footage and few like other variables in there, and it reduces your energy in your house anywhere between 10% to 100% to 0%. So my friend designed his house to be net zero energy. So what, of course, it's going to cost depending on how little energy you want to use or how big energy you want to use. And so this is his company, and he made it for which one is the newest? His program is Optimizer Energy. I'm going to pass it around. So I'm going to market this all around the countries for all the activists. So our plan is to use his program, and within the Occupy Denver, I'm an engineer, we have a builder, we have an electrician and stuff, to start a cooperative business. And we go and we're going to plan to retrofit existing home, like 20,000, to with the rooftop solar and all the things, so they don't need to use electricity anymore. So because in Denver we don't live like Boulder. Boulder has a very good city council. In Denver, our city councils are very corrupt. So the way we can go alternatively around it is to go to people who are pro environment. So trying to convince them and find out financial ways that they can get 0% loans to do these retrofits, to do this net zero energy. And I don't know how much you know about the utility companies. They are territorial. If you live in that place, you have to buy electricity from there. But right now there is no law that you have to buy electricity from anyone.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said something about the city council, that the city council mandated that that Excel Energy switch over from coal-powered power.
They asked that like about a year back.
And then they didn't do anything.
Yeah, they asked for a proposal, and when they came back, at the date that they needed to bring a proposal to show how they going to decrease using coal-fired plant, they didn't come up with anything. Then Boulder booted them out.
So how did the people then of Boulder get their power?
But right now, still Excel Energy. So what they are trying to do is, they done studies that they're going to bring wind generators and solar generators and then they want to buy the how do you say it,
Infrastructure.
infrastructure of the Excel Energy, and they don't know, they keep going up in the price. They don't want to sell it, and they're trying to buy things for the people because they're making more money if they serve than if they sell infrastructure to the to the city. So if we do these houses with this optimizer, and we have a lot of people in Colorado that they are conscious about environment. So not only we improve the environment by using energy source that is not polluting environment, also we're going to get rid of Excel Energy because it's going to reduce their profitability. This is what the alternative economy focuses on. How can we impact their bottom line and create things alternatively so we can just make that system to collapse without us banging on their doors.
Right.
So this is the the beauty of it. You don't have to put any energy of fighting with them because how much you can get when you're fighting with somebody. But if you create your own system, and then they have to come to your system and fight you, and that becomes difficult for them, So, and it's going to be difficult because the people who buy into these kind of things, they become believers of the system, because if they're going to retrofit their, like the person who made this program, he spent $25,000 to retrofit his house. In 1950 ranch-style house in Colorado, and then he has found financing source that they charge 0%, and they expanded like 15 years, to do that kind of financing to do. So we are trying to put a financing package that is affordable to people. We are going to improve environment, and by creating a cooperative, we are going to have shared profit, and people that, like me, we are not usually working for any company, we can create work for ourselves and have our own values and principle in place and be happy about our work. So this is one thing that I'm very knowledgeable about and I can talk about, and we are very active. I'm personally involved with this. As far as alternative employment, this one I'm going to use as school. When I became a teacher, as I told you, that I was very upset about how the school brainwash, and then the teachers, I found out in this country they're in bottom of the totem pole, They don't have any power, but yet everybody throw the rotten apple at their face, So one of the things that amazes me in the United States is they try to run everything with a capitalistic model, even if it doesn't fit. School system, like in Colorado, we have 179 districts. Some of those districts have only 3 schools. Is it worth it to have a superintendent, deputy superintendent, and pay them $300,000 to $400,000 a year, and not to spend that money on a school? And how much difference they are from this school and that school? Very little in the United States. If you compare them from here to Japan, maybe there is a lot of difference, but comparing one district to another district is not. So we decided to make a cooperative schools, teachers cooperative. So teachers are the heart of the schools. Teachers create curriculum and discipline. And also we decided the school is going to be the home of green technology. So we're going to partner with the green technology out there, whether it's urban farming, whether it's engineering projects to make green buildings and stuff like that, and bring all of that to the school. And teachers become facilitators, because most of them, they cannot, unless they are like me, engineer, they cannot facilitate. They cannot teach those kind of things. They have to facilitate, and we just help them to become a very strong facilitator to connect to the community. We are going to be working under state. We are not going to be working under superintendent. We are not going to have principal. We're going to have a third-party agency to do our administrative payroll, third party to evaluate our teacher, and things like libraries and stuff. We are going to make sure that we are either in a bus vicinity, take us to the library, to utilize community library. You know, so we are not going to have school libraries. You know, as far as the school lunch, we're going to have our own organic gardens, so the kids going to get involved to grow their own vegetables, their own things, you know, and we're going to have healthy food. So these are all the things is going to be on this school plan, and I have 12 teachers working with me. So, and I'm really happy because it's very collaborative. I don't have to do everything. You know, every week we have a meeting and we come up with all these different things that we want in the school, which is different from other school. And then we want to expand in our state. We want to make this a state school. So, you know, we're going to go after all those, you know, small districts that they have only 3 schools. We're going to open up schools over there and close them, close the districts and become a state school. And I think this has individuality, it has consistency, it has, we are teaching kids to be in social justice and respect environment and create things, you know. So this is another project that I'm very much involved with. So any questions? Yeah, I know you're involved with the schools and stuff. You know.
I'll let her know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, I've been asking a lot of questions.
That's
You go.
fine. I don't-
Okay, so
don't have
my
one.
question is, have you already approached the state about this? What has their response been? Because it seems like a really tremendous feat, because states are usually, at least here in Washington State, are highly tied in with the school districts. I mean, when there's a new superintendent, it's like new superintendent of school district, and even giving up to alternative schools, to charter schools, and that. Ooh, tight-fisted, really tough to get them
So
in.
in the state of Colorado, you can do that in two stages. I mean, 2 types of way. One way is, first of all, 8 districts in state of Colorado do not have charter authorization. So
Do not.
they do not have it. So you have to go through state
Okay.
to authorize you for a charter school.
Okay.
So, but every one of them are at least 60 to 90 minutes away. Is Fort Collins 1 hour away? Yeah, 1 hour away from us. So I called in state, I said, this is our intention. We want to cut bureaucracy. We don't want to be top heavy and get rid of these things. What do you suggest? He said that in their experience, you know, for example, we have a district called Aurora, and they just, a Montessori went over there to open up, and some of their requirement of the district was very, you know, was not compatible with the Montessori. So the district allowed them to become charter under the state.
Okay.
So under these you have to find out under what circumstances that first of all, you have to find out if state of Washington has something like we do, and that if the district doesn't approve, they can go to the state. And secondly, right now, my friend, one of the teachers, is having a meeting with the coordinator of Montessori to find out what they didn't like or what didn't go well, that the district didn't want it to charter them, so we followed the suit. So we do that, you know. So, okay, I'm sorry. Your question?
I was just going to ask about how you were going to go about formulating too. So
Charter?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at the beginning right now, and then of course if we go to district, there are all these grants and stuff that is connected, but we decided, all 12 of us, we are not going to sell out for money.
right.
The number one thing, we want to have something right, and the money will come. You know, we're going to become a state school. And I come from another country. And in other countries, you know, I have studied in 4 countries. This is the only country I see they have so many districts and so many. They treat the education does not fit capitalistic model. It fits. It's a tool. It's not a commodity. You can't sell it.
Oh, yeah, we've already
Just like you know, as this is not, you cannot sell it. In the United States, is the only country in the world treat this as a commodity. So we have to educate people that this is not a commodity. This is a tool, and if you want to be a capitalist, that's fine, but you need a tool to be successful in the capitalistic world.
Right.
And one of the tools is higher education.
Yeah.
One of the tools is access to health care, so you can be healthy. You know, these are tools. They are not commodity that you can sell. So, and for so many years, so many people have made so much money. You know, I mean, look at all the state universities. You know, they are supposed to be state universities, and they are as expensive as the private schools.
Oh, they're outrageous.
You know, so so I think there are 2 things that needs to happen in the United States. Number 1 is, okay, it's very easy to get rid of the 1%. But what is hard in the United States is to get rid of the 1% followers. You know, the people who bought into this system. You know, and these are, many of them are part of the 99%ers. You know, and how do you kind of get them out of that and trying to say, look at this system differently? The other things that we are very active in is alternative employment. We are doing cooperatives, and in cooperatives, you know, as I said, we are making this school, you know, teacher cooperatives. We don't have a name for it yet. We're going to come up with it, and it's going to be very democratic, you know, democratical. The other things, we want to make a Occupy coffee shop and have all of our people who are in Occupies and they are in food service and stuff, to make a space for people to come and have deep conversations and having dialogue with each other and kind of have meetings and stuff. So that's another project that is going on. I'm not very much involved with that project. So we are involved in that. And as I was telling you earlier, we have Marlisa. Yeah. We are doing collaborative living in Colorado. And with collaborative living, people, especially young people, that they cannot afford to rent apartment, this is the best. So what they do is they find these old homes that with lots of rooms, and they rent them, and they're run down usually. And so, for example, when this house going to be for urban organic gardeners. So they are not just roommates to go and live in this house, but they have a mission. They do that in their garden over there, in their house, and also they do that in communities. And also they talk about these kind of projects in their communities. We have another house which are working on cooperative employment, to turning businesses to cooperative businesses. So every one of these houses have mission and set of rules that if you like those kind of things and if you are activists in those kind of areas, you can live in this collaborative. And it's becoming very fashionable in Denver, you know, like, and that's where we are working with Colorado Coalition Foreclosure Resistance, because this is one option we can give to people, of course, if they don't have so many kids and stuff like that.
I talked to some of my friends about doing that with an apartment complex, but instead of having one set of like skills, getting people in that were like good at working on cars, good at gardening, you know, different set of skills to kind of to create a little community within that apartment complex.
That's wonderful. Yes. So that's it. That's what we are doing, and I am going to pass around my Facebook page. You know, we have a beautiful logo, and yeah, this is our logo on Facebook page. It's Connect Colorado if you want, and if you like it, just like it for us so we can have more.
It's nice.
So we call this a soft revolution. You don't use the mass destruction weaponry, you know, you don't use, all you need is seeds, you know, land and grow things and mind your own business and, you know, allowing that system to collapse.
Well, it's like the Richard Buckminster Fuller approach where, you know, in order to change an existing reality, you don't fight it, you create one that will make the old one obsolete.
Yes. So
Brilliant.
basically, that's what we are doing. We are making the old one obsolete.
Yeah, that's a big premise of our whole idea with creating peer-funded, you know, grants.
Who said that?
Richard Buckminster Fuller.
Uh-huh.
You know,
So what does he do?
you know, I think he's kind of a jack of all trades. Really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you rent a house, so if I owned a house, say I had a big old house, and you approached me, and I say, I'm renting to you and your family, you know, how many are in your family? I'm renting to you and your family only, so I know as a landlord who's in there, how much wear and tear it's likely to get, who should be there and who shouldn't be there. But you say, oh no, I'm going to be subletting the rooms to these other people. I'm going to kind of run it as a alternative housing, whatever. And so I would go, okay, as a landlord, I'd go, okay, so you're running it as a business. So
No, it's not going to be a business, and they're not going to tell the landlord because they don't have that capacity to understand. You just say, I will live with the roommates,
okay.
you know.
Oh yeah.
But they don't have to know.
Yeah. Okay.
What
Okay.
you say, I'm going to be living with the roommates, but you know,
Right.
one person become responsible for that,
Right.
and everybody pays the rent and stuff. So, but actually, it's been working. It's working better than roommate because they have such a
Common interests,
common interest.
camaraderie.
Yes, and also building community that, and there is always a, what you call it, the line, the list, like you make a list of the people that are interested in something, and then if somebody is not good match and they go, somebody's always in a
Right.
line to come, you know, like, what do you call that, you know, when you're calling somewhere and it's full and you say, put
A
me
waiting list?
A waiting list.
waiting list. Yes, they have a long waiting list. That's what I wanted to say. They have a long waiting list, and they are not suffering from, because this is how they present it to the community, as a community building thing, not as a roommate thing, you know. So basically, those people know what they are walking into.
Do you usually have like one person who's in charge of the house, like one,
Yes.
like a dorm,
You know-
like there's a dormitory, like they have a dorm person who's like.
No. We don't have, because this is again top down. They run it horizontally. They have the rules there, and like, for example, in this house that I went and visited, like every night is just 7 of them. Every night one person cook, and you know, and one person wash dishes, you know, and you know, one day a week, you know, every person, you know, takes a turn to clean up the house, you know, every week, you know, like every day, you know, one person. So the house gets cleaned 7 days a week, but not by one person. So by the time it comes your turn, you're going to be 1 week past, but it still is clean because every day somebody else cleaned up.
Right.
The toilet, the bathrooms and stuff. And because there are so many people live just like here in the same house, they really consider how to be clean and how to be,
That's
you know,
awesome.
you know, to kind of
So it's almost like a commune in a house.
exactly
Okay.
like a hippie or era, you know. But except, they have strict code of no drugs, no alcohol, this kind of things. I mean, people can do that outside and go, But when they come to the house, this is the safe place, haven for them to feel safe. And if somebody doesn't work for them, they always go to waiting list and pull somebody out. Come.
Is there any screening issues on like who you accept from the waiting list, or is it just?
No, it's just basically they are the one who buy into this system. You say, I don't know, we are all working on alternative energy.
So one person might be an electrician and another a landscaper.
As long it doesn't matter what they do, but their focus is on alternative energy or on creating cooperatives or urban gardening. So they have the same interest, and it doesn't matter who they are as far as their work, their education, their qualifications, as long as those are the things that they are interested to work on, like creating artful things, to take to different places. So they have all these different theme for the house, for the people to go and live in. So I suggest for you that you're trying to find don't look at it trying to find alternative for student loan. Look at alternative for the schools, and I would suggest that you would look at Mondragon.
How do you spell that?
I think, I don't know how to spell it, but they are in Spain. They have the biggest cooperative in the world. And they are the biggest competitor with capitalism. They are cooperative and they compete against capitalism. And they win all the time.
Which area or the whole country?
In
Basque
Spain.
region.
Yeah, it's Basque, yes, Basque area. So they have a university called, we are starting a teacher cooperative schools. Maybe you want to start the
Framework.
look at their universities, which is cooperative and with professors and students.
I think they're starting to build some of those online now. Coursera is one of them, and edX is another also. So they get professors from different colleges to teach individual courses, and they call it a multi-massive online classroom. I want to say it's called a MOOC, and I'm taking competitive strategy right now, and then a social psychology class from different colleges.
You see, one thing that this is another education path, and that American society should go through. Just because you're going to university and you're getting a degree doesn't mean anything, that you're going to get a job. And had I known this earlier, I probably wouldn't get half of the degrees I have, and I would just go to universities and learn. Just learn and take a variety of classes in community. Because right now I am selling my skills, not degree. And this is my alternative way. I call it entrepreneur when I was teaching workshops on entrepreneurship. This is my thing. I'm selling my skills. I'm not selling my degree. You don't have to be, of course, 2 of my contracts with the school, and I have to have a degree and I have to have a license, but it didn't have to be that way. And all these people who are involved with the social media, computer and stuff, many of them, they don't even have a degree. They just have a skill. It's very...
They're lucky enough to know the right people too.
Yeah. So that's it. Really.
So, question: you started saying early on that that you're a landlord, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And so that's how you survive. So that affords you the ability to do activism work and all that.
Yes.
Because you're renting all that, your basic needs are covered.
Yes.
When you're working these other houses,
I don't work any houses. It's my own home, and I have 4 rooms.
okay, we said one of the houses had seven
No,
occupants.
those are the collaborative houses that the young people put together.
Oh, you didn't put them together?
No, no. I'm
Okay.
not in charge of those projects. What I do in my house, I have a basement and 3 rooms. And I live in 1 room. And so, for example, if you go to the Washington State universities, they have foreign students coming from Saudi Arabia and stuff. And they have that in every state. So, and they learn language before they go to universities. In Denver, they pay you $700 a month per person to stay in your house.
Right.
So if I get 3 of them, that's $2,100, and
Right.
that pays.
Okay.
You know.
So do you get them directly from the college?
Yes, and haven't had any problem with them. You know, they come in.
Foreign students
I've
are
had
definitely
some.
more respect.
Yes, they are very respectful because that's what they've been raised very strict. And by the time they want to try alcohol and have their own car, you know, they want to move out. You know, I mean, they don't stay in your house and causing problem. You
Yeah,
know?
I had a couple of exchange students from South Korea, but at 2 different times. But the agencies, you know, you had to go through an agency, and the agencies all wanted fees, and
Yes.
and it was just all.
No, you can go to community colleges and also language schools, and also the Washington, whatever you have
University of Washington.
university, and trying to ask. You know,
What department would you ask about that?
you know, I'm working with Spring International in Denver, and I know they don't have it in other states, but you can call them and say, who are in Seattle who do this kind of work, you know. So this is my alternative way of living, so I can be activist. Somebody pays for my home, and I live in it while I'm doing this, you know.
Early on, you were saying something about like a community space and people could have a table there.
Yes, and this
is
is what I do,
Uh-huh.
and I connect them together. So these people who work on a collaborative housing, the people who work in a urban gardening, the people who work on a currency, people who work on net zero energy, you know, they're all, you know, I connect them together.
And where's that space at? Where's that operating
Okay,
out of?
so a friend of mine has a conference space in Denver, you know, like is a business.
Okay.
And the conference space fits like 60 people, 60 this side, 60 about 120, and she allows me to use that space like second Sunday of each month,
Okay.
you know, for free, you know. So, but there are a lot of you know, I don't know about, I'm sure you would have that in Seattle too, because it seems like a lot of people are conscious about these kind of things.
They've actually just opened a space on Vashon that's it's a co-working hub, and they have a conference room available there, and I think they've been talking about having it available for 6 days.
Yes. So I do this monthly. So it's growing, you know, like it started with 3 tables. Like I have urban gardeners that they just work with veterans who come back from Iraq. So it's a space for them to work there on a garden to create something, a job for them, and also something that is more peaceful and not stressful for them.
That's great.
So.
I did a lot of research about how community gardens really help with.
So Marlisa, did I answer all of your questions?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
For the school that had to be based
So
on
we should be in
discipline.
touch. I give you my.
and
Oh,
the approaches
Yeah, do you have a
that
card?
another thing, I give you a card.
improve that.
Can I ask you a
That
thing?
makes a lot of sense.
Also, I work through It's Our Economy.us, and if you go through that, you know, if you want to make a note of that, Marlisa, It's Our Economy.us, and I opened up the Colorado chapter. So I'm connected nationally, and I'm working with really hardcore national activists. While I'm very involved with my community, I'm connected to that. You know. So also this September 6, 7, and 8, we are putting a conference together called "What Does Democracy Look Like?"
Yes.
And we're going to be doing a lot of dialoguing. This is very important to educate people, you know.
It's oureconomy.us.
Yes, it's oureconomy.us. And my friend Dr. Margaret Flower, who used to be a single payer activist, and it's Kevin Zeese, anti-war, created that, and we all work together, you know, all over US. Actually, I'm going from here to Democracy Convention in Madison on Tuesday, and about
Going where?
1,000 people coming.
You're going where on Tuesday?
Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison, Wisconsin is Democracy Convention.
Cool.